God in his power, in his love, in his absolute affections for you will utterly transform your entire life. Okay. What's up, friends? Welcome to Hope on Demand for today. It is great to have you with me. I trust you're doing fantastic. If you haven't watched yesterday's video, go ahead and pause this video, go watch that one. I really enjoyed that. I love talking about Jesus, and I love talking about, through the Bible, through the lens of the Bible, what God has done. Because really what it does is it creates a bit of a picture of what God wants to do to you and for me right now. And that's a super exciting thing. In fact, I'm about to get a new lens. Yeah, I'm gonna get a new lens. So I'm gonna pause this video right here, and we're gonna go get that new lens, and then we'll continue the video in just a moment. Woo!
A few moments later.
Oh wow! So you see what I mean? Like, this is a much wider lens. One of my absolute favorite things about reading the Bible is you read stories of people. Right, it's stories of people, and it's people just like you and me. It's people who, are down and out, people without hope, people who are lost, people who, if it weren't for Jesus, wouldn't have a chance of ever making it through. In Luke 19, you read one of these stories, and Luke 19 is this crazy story where Jesus, he's left the Sea of Galilee. He's traveling south through kind of the Dead Sea, Jordan Valley area, comes to a place called Jericho, right? Now, Jericho is it's one of the oldest cities in the entire planet. And I've driven through, and around it a few times now. But Jesus went through the town, and in Luke 19, you read this weird story about this guy named Zacchaeus. And Zacchaeus, was this short guy, right? In fact, he was so short that he had to climb a sycamore tree. He had to climb a tree in order to see Jesus, and there was a crowd, around Jesus, and everyone wanted to hear what he had to say. Amazing thing happens where Zacchaeus, he was this chief tax collector, and to be a tax collector back then, like they were Jewish people working for the Romans, and the Romans, they were occupying Israel. Right, he was under martial law, and what the tax collectors would do is the Romans, instituted so much money that each person in Israel had to pay, and the tax collectors, Jewish people, they would collect the taxes from the Jews, from their own people. But then what they would also do was, many cases, they would take more, right? They would add more onto what we're supposed to be given, and so in essence, they were stealing from their own people. They were pocketing the difference from what was owed and what the tax collectors demanded. And Zacchaeus here, he was a chief tax collector, which meant that he had a lot of people under him. He was in charge of a lot of other tax collectors, and Zacchaeus really made a profit, a huge profit. In fact, it says he was very wealthy. And Jesus is walking through Jericho on his way to Jerusalem to ultimately die on the cross, right? The pinnacle, the very, very peak of what Jesus came to do. He's on his way, just passing through Jericho. Speaks to this man, Zacchaeus. And he says, Zacchaeus, today I will eat in your home. And the people were so upset. I mean, they said, Jesus, how can you be seen with this notorious sinner? This is a really awful guy. How can you, even talk about, speaking to this man? And this is the heart of God. These are the stories that I absolutely love, is Jesus and Zacchaeus, they go into his place, they have a meal together, and we have no idea what was said. We have no idea what was talked about. We don't know what Jesus said to him. We don't even know, if there was even a bargain struck up. But all we know is that Zacchaeus' heart was so transformed. We're talking about a guy who was hated by everyone. We're talking about a guy whose conscience was so seared that he had made an enormous amount of money from stealing from his own people. And in one singular moment in the presence of God, Zacchaeus is absolutely transformed. His heart is changed. His life is changed. And Zacchaeus says to the people that he will give half of his wealth to the poor people who live in that region. And if he's cheated anyone on their taxes, he will give them 4 times as much back. One moment, folks, one singular moment with Jesus. Like, this is the frustration, is oftentimes, people, they see Christianity and they see organized religion and they see all of the to-dos and they see all of the things, and it's very frustrating. You can look at the history of the church, and I understand completely why so many people are turned off and why organized religion, is just so hated. So everyone is just really against it for good reason, right? I mean, there's some awful things that have happened. But when you encounter this God, when God comes into your heart, and when you feel that liquid love just rush over you, something only that Christ himself can give you, that's where organized church, organized religion, institutions, that's where they fail completely. God, in his power, in his love, in his absolute affections for you, will utterly transform your entire life. We were talking about a man who made an enormous amount of money, had one conversation, one moment with Jesus. Everything changed in his life. And this is a guy who could have had anything. He had everything. He had money, he had fame. It was the wrong type of fame, but nothing compares to those encounters with Jesus. And that's what these videos are here for. To remind you, to tell you that there is a Jesus who wants to fill you with this love. So I pray that you today, you ask Jesus to give you one of those encounters, and you just watch God start to move in your life, start to transform and change you from the inside out. And it's only something really that love can do. So praying for you guys. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.